It was so different from me being brought up in Mount Druitt and Penrith to be going to a new state, let alone playing rugby league over there.
You've got a lot of blokes that come across to WA from different parts of the world and went on to have really successful careers.
It came about, I ended up at the Western Reds in 1993 when I was playing for Balmain. After leaving Penrith in 92, midway through the year I got a call from Peter Mulholland, and he said in 1995 they're bringing 4 new teams in and one of them will be the Western Reds, and we want you to be our first signing.
I got a phone call from Peter Mulholland that said we want you to come across to the Reds.
And if you didn't have a marquee player, it was very difficult, and that's where other clubs didn't succeed so well, because they didn't get those sorts of players. But we got players out of the Knights. They were probably our most influential, but MG was certainly the catalyst for a lot of that.
I signed on for 3 years for $180K a year, which was good money back then.
Look, MG is synonymous with rugby league here in the West. He's done a lot for rugby league.
And then they signed Brad Mackay around the same time as me.
Mackay was just superb, and he was. I'll never forget. I was out at Rivervale, and we had a meeting at one of the old hotels out there, and the board of directors called me and said, "What do we need?" I said, "We need a lock forward." They said, "We'll go and get the best in the world. Who is it?" I said, "It's Brad Mackay." And I said, "We'll go and sign him."
Then I basically forgot about it, because I went from Balmain. I played the year 93 at Balmain. Then I quit Balmain in 94 and played up at year minor for a year, and I was ready to give the game away. And then my wife told me we're pregnant with our first kid, so I had Pete Mulholland and Gordon Allen from the Western Reds calling me, and so I honoured the contract, and I'm glad I did, because it was 3 of the best years of my, not just life, but my football career was in Perth, yeah. And I remember there was a buzz, there was just a big buzz. You know, we all had these new Fords with kangaroo on the bonnet. No one could really not recognise us over there. Stood out like dog's balls, to be honest. And as I left the airport, there was a big billboard of me in a menacing type of way, saying that a bad man comes to town to take on whatever it was, the caption. But yeah, I had a couple of run-ins over there because of that billboard.
That game, that historic game at the Wacker, 12th of March 1995, beating St George with a massive crowd, 25,000 people, chanting Reds, Reds, Reds.
It was a bit of euphoria, and I think MG said it a few times. We had about 18 months to prepare for that one, and we got what we wanted, and then we got a reality check the next week. But mate, it was wonderful, and the response from the crowd, the Perth audience, was just marvellous, mate.
But coming over was a massive challenge for the Dragons, that game. We knew they had 2 years to prepare for the game, and they just out-enthused us that day. It was a tough game for us.
Is something that will never leave me, and what an occasion. The Western Reds come on the scene and were the only team that year to win their inaugural game.
Look, we started off against St George, who were one of the favourites for that year's comp, and I'm not really quite sure of the score, but we beat them pretty convincingly. 28-16, yeah. Jeff Doyle scored the first try for the Reds.
So they had a lot of internationals there with MG and Brad Mackay and these guys, so they're always going to be competitive. Yeah, it was a tough game for us, first up.
End of 97, and I know we got a call saying that basically we've got, we're folding, and you've got 8 weeks to try and find another club. A new club was being formed in Melbourne called the Melbourne Storm, and they wanted about 11 of our players.
The Melbourne Storm, they're formed out of the Western Reds. Nothing surer. Take nothing away from Craig Bellamy. He is the absolute astute coach of rugby league. We get that. But they took our blueprint. They took our players. Little Matty guy at the time went across, stepped out of his brother's shadow, was unbelievable. Robbie Kearns, Rodney Howe was absolutely fantastic.
It was a really good sporting town, Perth, and one that I can't wait to get back to this weekend.
Do you think they still should have a team over here?
Oh, definitely. I'm all for the Western Reds. I think we've got a national competition. We need to have Perth in the competition. So It'll happen, but when it happens, I don't know.
If the NRL are fair income and they want a truly national competition, they should have a team back here in the West. Come the television rights in 2023, they should be the first team picked.
Oh, certainly. I mean, it makes common sense in every way. Time zones, it's a national sport that we've said from day one. I think the population would embrace it. And I think what people forget is that we still had a core group, even with all that Super League rubbish, we still had a core group of 15,000, 14,000, which most Sydney clubs would love to have.
Look, I think as far as expansion goes in rugby league, I think the first bastion, first place that should be highest on anyone's list is definitely Perth.